In the previous lesson, we talked about arrays and how to create them in code. In this video, we'll continue talking about arrays, but now we will introduce a better version of arrays called array lists. Array lists are still arrays, but with more features and flexibilities. Now let's take a look. Alright, so let's go ahead and create a new project. So right-click, New, Java project. I'm going to call it Java Array Lists. Finish. And we have our project. Right-click on Source, New, Package. I'm going to call this com.java programs.java array lists. Finish, and we're going to create our class here. So new class. We need to have our public void selected, and we're going to call this Java array list. Get rid of this. So as we said, array lists are still arrays, but they have more flexibility. They have more features that we can use. The first thing we do to create an array list, we say array list, and we have this new syntax called angle brackets. So it's less than and greater than, and inside here we're gonna put the type of objects or containers or elements we're gonna insert into our array list. So in this case, let's go say string, and then we name our array list. We're gonna call my array list is equal to new. So we're creating an object of array lists of type string is equal to new array list, because that's the type of items we're gonna put in our array list, and we have this parenthesis. Now you notice Eclipse is complaining. It say, well, something is not right. I don't know what an array list is. That's because we have to go and import array list libraries or classes in order for this to work. So what you do, you just hover over your array lists and go import. And you see here it says import java.util.arraylist. What this means is that we are going into the libraries, Java libraries, as you can see, system library here. There's a lot of classes and packages and things that Java comes with that we can use. Just think of it as just functions or classes. Developers, we can go and use them instead of creating our own. Let's go back and explain a little bit here what's happening here. So what are we saying? We're saying, well, we want an array list, which is an object, a class, and then we're saying, well, the type of this array list, what's this array list going to hold, is going to hold objects, and then we're naming our array list to my array list, just like we've been doing. We're naming our types, we're naming our variables, and then we're saying new, go ahead and create a new object of array lists that will hold strings. That's all what's happening here. Alright, so now we have our array list. What can we do with array list? Now the great thing about array list, it has all these properties you can go and call with functions and methods. You can remove things from an array list. You can then go and get a particular thing from an array list. So let's go ahead and see how can we add elements into our array list. Array list dot, which means we are gonna go and get some of the functions that come with our array list. You can see here there's add, there's size, there's add all, which is we don't have to worry about it, is get, and we can even see if it's empty and so forth. So the first thing we want to do is to add something. My array list dot add, and we can add a string. We can say array lists are great, and we can add more items. We can array list that add hello there. We can keep adding as many things as we like. So add string This won't be able to go and iterate through and get those back to us. A few different ways to do this. We can do our traditional for loop, so for int I is equal to 0, and then we can say I is less than my array list that size, right? Not length. My array list has the size function, and then we can say I plus plus, and as we've been doing for a while, we can just go system that out.println items, and we just say my array list dot get, and then we just pass in our index, which is I. Very similar to arrays, but except here we have size instead of length, and here we actually go and get. We have a get function that goes ahead and get an element in our array. So let's save this and run. There it is. You say array lists are great. Oops. Let's run again. Array lists are great. Hello there. Great. Which is the items that we've added, into our array list. Now the other way, which we haven't talked about, it's called the enhanced for loop. For now you go say string, because this is the type of elements that are inside of my array list, string, and we name our string item, and then we put colon, and then we call my array list, say my array list, and that's all. And then of course we have our curly braces there. So again, what's happening here, we're just saying that we're creating a item of type string, because that's what's going to be holding our items inside of our array, and we're saying my array list, so we're calling the array list we just created. So essentially just saying take all of these items into this array, into this item here that we created, so that we can then access those items. So what we can do then here inside, we say system.out.println, and let's say my items, just say items. Let's comment this out here so that we don't have double items showing up. There we go, my items, array lists are great, and all of that. Of course, it's all the same thing in terms of the output, but it's just, I just wanted to show you a different way of looping through objects or items in an array. In this case, my array list. Great. Now, the other thing also you may notice is that you can also remove items from array list. So let's say if we want to remove this item here, the first one, what we do is very simple. We go ahead and say here my array list dot remove. As you can see, you have a few remove functions that you can use here. You have this remove, which takes in an index, and then you have this remove, which actually takes in an object. Let's start with the first one, which just takes in an index. So index, as we know, is just the ID pointing to the container where an item resides. So let's say if we want to remove the first one, which is going to be 0. Right? Now if we want to see if that really happened, so let's take this here, because we're going to go and iterate through again and put after this statement here. You should notice that we won't see this array lists are great statement anymore if you run this, because we've just removed it. So let's save it and run. There we go. You see, we don't see the array list are great anymore because we've removed it. Now let's say if we wanted to use the other remove function that comes with array lists. Say my array list dot remove. Instead of passing in the index, we can pass in the object name if we know what the object is. So what happens here is that we can actually go ahead and insert the string or the item you want to remove instead of the index. In this case, let's say we want to remove great. So if we go like this, great, and save, Let's run this again. You see there, now the array lists are great is there. Hello there, you can see here. However, this last one great here, it's not there anymore because what we did here, we removed it. Now you see, there's a lot of more power when we used array lists as opposed to using traditional arrays. Even though arrays are the easiest way to get data and insert variables quicker and retrieve them faster, ArrayList gives you more flexibility of doing things with your data. So that's it for our ArrayLists, and go ahead and play around with ArrayLists. It's really fun. There's a lot of things you can do with ArrayLists, and we will have more chance to use them, of course, as we dive into the Android development. Okay, I'll see you in the next video.